Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to go through advanced isometric block number 1. So let's go. Go ahead and open up Onshape just like you would for all of our other files. Find the blue Create button and select Document. You can name this document Advanced ISO 1. Feel free to abbreviate. Once your file has opened, we're going to go in and take a look at what Advanced ISO number 1 looks like in the Google Doc. Here's where you'll find the layout of the part, including dimensions. It's important that we break these parts into smaller pieces so that we can complete them step by step. The first thing I would do is remove the angled wall and the right side base. We're going to focus just on this small circular part here at the top. To create this, we're going to create a new sketch from the top plane. The sketch is going to include 2 circles and a rectangle, including the dimensions of 30 inches for diameter, 18 inches for width, and 30 inches for depth of the rectangle, as well as a 7.5 inch radius circle. So let's now go into Onshape and lay this stuff out. Start with a new sketch from the top plane. Rotate your Cartesian cube so that you can see the view perpendicular to your line of sight. Now we're going to create 2 circles that start right at the origin point. The first circle is going to be given the dimension of 30. The second circle we're going to create is going to be given the dimension of 15. Now we're going to create a rectangle that boxes in the right side of these 2 circles. Choose the corner rectangle tool. Hover your mouse over the center point or origin, but don't click yet. Drag that mouse straight up, making sure that the orange dotted lines continue to follow you up. Once you've gotten to the top of the outer circle and the circle turns orange, this is where you'll click to start your rectangle. We call those snap points. We use snap points to help eliminate too many dimensions on our part. Draw this rectangle down any length you desire, because we're going to use dimensions to change it. Once you've dropped that rectangle, go ahead and choose the dimension tool and add a vertical dimension of 30 inches to the right side of the rectangle. Now add a width dimension of 18 inches to the top of that rectangle. Now that we've got our shape almost done, we're going to clean up some of the cluttered space in the middle here. We want this to be a continuous profile, so in order to do that, I have to get rid of this half of the big circle and this entire line going down the middle of my part. I can't just delete it because it'll get rid of the entire shape. So what I'm going to do instead is find the pair of scissors in the ribbon. We call this the trim tool. Select the trim tool and then click on the large right half of the circle, and then all of the vertical lines down the left side of the rectangle. This is going to clean up our profile so that we can select only the inner area without selecting all of the smaller pieces that went along with it. Our sketch is complete. So now we're going to click the green check mark, rotate to an isometric view, select the extrusion tool, and then pick the profile, which is the area we want to add the depth to. Change the depth value to 30, and then click the green check mark box again to finish this feature. Great, we've started with 1/3 of the block being complete. Now let's jump back to the Google Doc and see what's next. Looking at the shape in the Google Doc, I would create the base area for this shape next. Let's get some dimensions down. From the center of the circle to the far right side of the base area is 60 inches. So we're going to have to do a little math to figure out how much to add. The height of the base area on the right is 9 inches. As we go back into Onshape, we're going to create a sketch by selecting the right side of our feature. Rotate to the right so we can see the right side of our object, and begin by creating a corner rectangle from the bottom left corner of our part up and across to the opposite side. this rectangle is going to be given a dimensional height of 9. You won't need a width dimension because we locked it in on both sides. Go ahead and finish that sketch. Choose the extrusion tool. Select the isometric view. And then pick the rectangle we just created. Here comes that math part. If we had 60 inches from the center of the circle to the far right side of our new base piece, but we also have 18 inches from center of the circle to the face we started on, that tells me I have to subtract 18 inches from 60 to tell me how much more space I need to take up here with my extrusion. If you're not good at math, you can actually type the equations in and the program will recognize them as dimensions. For example, 60 minus 18. If you can do the math quickly, you should know that this space is going to be created using a 42-inch extrusion. Click the green checkmark box, and our base area is almost done. One new feature we're going to show you that allows us to cut corners quickly is called the chamfer feature. Select the chamfer tool from the ribbon, change from equal distance to 2 distances, and then make the 2 distances 9 inches. That number comes directly from the Google Doc. You can see here there's a 9-inch space for this corner cutoff on both sides, which means there's also a 9-inch space over here. Now that we've put the 9-inch distances into our 2 distance setting, we can click the vertical lines on the far right side of our new base plate, and this will cut those corners appropriately. Click the green check mark, and the base area is now finished. We're 2/3 done. The last thing we have to do is create this diagonal wall area right in the middle of our new base plate. Look at some dimensions that are going to be applied. 7 inches is the appropriate width for this angled wall. It's centered on the object. Let's start by creating a sketch on top of the new base area we just created. Rotate to the top view of your Cartesian cube. Place a rectangle anywhere on the top of the new base plate without locking it into a snap point. Let me show you what a snap point looks like. If I start my rectangle right here, it's going to lock it and I won't be able to change its position with dimensions. So I don't want to lock to a snap point. Here's another example of a snap point. If I lock it here, I won't be able to move it. So what I want to do is place it anywhere that's not a snap point. Draw it down and across and finish it on the opposite side, making sure that we're not locked to a snap point. Now use the dimension tool to place a dimension in between the 2 lines of the rectangle, giving this a space distance of 7. Next, we're going to dimension from the top of the new rectangle to the top of the existing base plate, and this dimension is going to be given half the distance across the base plate, which is 15, minus half of 7. So this can get a little bit complicated. If you take 15 and you subtract half of 7, which is 3.5, you should get 11.5. So let's go ahead and type 11.5 as the distance that we want to place this rectangle from the top edge of the existing base plate. Our shape is complete. Now let's go turn it into a form. Click the green checkmark box, rotate to the isometric view, select the extrusion tool, and then choose that new rectangle we just created. The appropriate height for this rectangle is going to put it even with the top of our original part. The distance here should be 21. Go ahead and type 21 in the depth, hit enter, and your rectangular block should come up even with the first part we created. Click the green check mark. That space is almost done. We're going to go back to our chamfer tool and see if we can chamfer off this corner. Select the chamfer tool from the ribbon, change its settings from equal distant to 2 distances, and then the 2 distances we're going to apply are the depth for the base plate, which we recall is 42, and the height for the wall, which we just entered as 21. Now go ahead and select that top right edge of the rectangle we just created. This is going to cut that corner off appropriately, 42 inches in width and 21 inches in height. Click the green check mark box, and ISO block number 1 is complete. Share this with me, and then don't forget to go down and create a new drawing sheet for isometric block number 1. Remember to include all the dimensions that you find in the Google Doc. That's it for this video, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this. Thanks for watching.